6, 7, I have lost count. Hello and welcome on in, race fans, to tonight's event here as the sun is setting in Southern California. This is the Cyber Thunder Racing League in 2026. So glad you could all be out here tonight and join us for the season opener here in Auto Club. Switching it up just a little bit from the typical season openers down in Daytona Beach. We'll be visiting Daytona, but not for a couple weeks into the season. And for tonight's event, it is you and I, and will be for the remainder of this season here in Tuesday. Tom Richter, my usual co-host, down on track, going to be driving the Buc-ee's machine this season, all season, competing for wins and potentially a third career championship here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. We shall see in due time. 23 races on the calendar for 2026-1, and there's a little bit of a new look out here from the last time that we came to you guys live on a Tuesday night last time, and for the last handful of seasons on Tuesdays, for the last quite a few seasons on Tuesdays, it has been the trucks. But here and now, as you can see with some of our drivers circulating around in practice, we are switching it up. We're headed to the O'Reilly cars for what is the O'Reilly Rush Championship Series beginning here tonight. I tell you what, why don't we take a look at all of our info here that we have for tonight's event. We're here in Auto Club for race 1 of 23 this season. We have out here tonight 100 laps around Auto Club. I believe 100. Yes, 100. The stages end at the conclusion of lap 20 and lap 45. In the following weeks, we're headed to Phoenix for round 2, Kansas for round 3, and eventually, of course, Daytona in round 4. That is how the season kicks off here, getting started not too far after the conclusion of the previous season in Charlotte a handful of weeks ago, where we saw driver 16, Matt Semple, secure his first championship in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. His first championship, third win of the season, fourth win overall, I do believe. We'll see what Semple can do, along with others, heading into a whole new year. Wanted to get us started a little earlier here in practice than we usually do. We've still got about 6 minutes left before we kick on over to qualifying. And just kind of want to jump through the field a little bit, take a look at some of the drivers, take a look at some of the new looks, and see what we have out here to keep our eyes on. The sun is setting, so the lights are going to come on over this 2-mile surface before too long right here. If they aren't already, the sun will set and we will be nighttime racing. Right now we're taking a look at Cody Gibson, and real quick, why don't I go ahead and cover the fact that there are going to be some incorrect numbers on these race cars. There was a handful of technical difficulties with tonight's race, and as a result, there are a number of drivers who are not in their usual numbers. That should be corrected for next week's race in Phoenix. We apologize for the confusion. Please bear with us. But Cody Gibson, who drives the number 1 in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, will be out here in this Christmas-themed number 7 tonight. That's a paint scheme. That's a number that we see Gibson drive on Saturday nights here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network. Another driver we have out on track right now, that's Frank DiMaggio, driver of the 24, a previous champion in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, making his return in recent times. Got back into victory lane in the penultimate event of the season last season at Michigan. went out there and got it done. We've got Brad Holmes in the 0-0 double-double, as we like to call him. He's out for another shot, driving that Sauber Speedway machine as he so often does. Jason Raymond is out here in familiar colors, driving that 49 Camaro. Raymond coming off of a season that had some very flashy highs, didn't get into victory lane, but that's a driver I've got my eyes on to get it done at least once this season. Greg Mitchell, perhaps the biggest what-if story out of last season. Greg Mitchell has driven at a championship caliber every single season in which he has been driving in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. He has completed, I believe, 4 full seasons across multiple series here at Cyber. He is still looking for his first career championship. He is about to crack into the top 5 wins all time here at Cyber. If that tells you anything, Greg Mitchell in the 55, surely to be a contender all throughout the season, as he often is. We've got Logan Spencer in the 19. Logan Spencer came oh so close to having a shot at winning the Cyber 500 just a few days ago. I would know, I was there, and we won't talk about the fact that it was my nose that he got wrecked off of coming to the line. But either way, Logan Spencer in the 19, rocking those Coors Light colors. Love you, Logan. We got Rick Thompson out here in the 76. A little bit of a different look. Rick Thompson's usually in a blacked out Speed Mafia machine, but all red and white. I love the look of it. Looking stylish out here for a new season. Rick Thompson, another driver who is chasing their first win in Cyber. It's only a matter of time for Rick. He's fast enough. We've got Andy Cork out here in the Andy's Frozen Custard machine. Pretty fitting. In that 41, Dwayne Young is out here. This is going to be another driver whose number is not matching what you see on the track. 08 out there on track for Dwayne Young, making his return to the seat. We saw some flashes of brilliance out of Dwayne in the previous season. Dave Gainforth, Cyber Thunder Racing League Hall of Famer, switching it up. No longer driver of the 101. Now Dave Gainforth out here, going to be driving the 15 moving forward. New number, new look in that raid machine is Dave Gainforth, or Pudding as we like to call him around here. See who else we got out here. Brad Collins in the 67, familiar colors for Collins out here on track. Steven Music in the 09, rocking that Hellman's spicy machine with some fun colors right there. Let me go back up here, see if we missed anyone. Eric Anderson wasn't on track a minute ago. That 43 car, you know him, you love him. And Eric Anderson had in many ways a career season last season in the trucks. Won the season opener in Daytona, made a very strong push in the Scrambler Series playoffs at season's end. Eric Anderson riding a good wave of momentum off of having a very successful season, all things considered. We've got Jared Anderson in another Red Bull machine out here, driving the 5 Supra out on track. Jared Anderson, driver who's going to be starting his 2nd season here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. We've got Chris Rose in the 07. That's a name that I'm sure many of you are familiar with at this point. Had a flashy run in the Cyber 500 a couple of days ago. Didn't pan out how he would have wanted, but Chris Rose back at it, looking for his first win in Cyber. Paxton Frith going to be starting his first full season here at Cyber. Joined partway through the last season as a rookie, now with some experience under his belt, looking to hit the ground running here in 26-1. Carter Lawson, as always, in some standout colors. This time it's going to be that very, very eye-catching aqua color and purple contrast right there. You're not going to miss that machine on track. That much is for certain. And of course, well, I guess that's good timing right there, because practice has come to an end, and it is time for us to kick on over to qualifying for the first time this season. Let's set the running order. Those of you guys out there in the chat watching from home, let me know who you're here to root on this evening. Who do you got your eyes on? Who are you out here supporting? Maybe a driver, maybe a couple of drivers, a whole team, what have you. Drop some names in there. Let me know who's got some fans watching. And we are going to watch the driver who has been on top of the world as of late. That's Matt Semple, defending Cyber Thunder champion in that 16, that Alto construction machine, rocking a new paint scheme, some new colors, and looking spiffy while doing it. 3 wins on the season last go around, and of course the championship in the finale at Charlotte. Let's see what Semple can do here in Auto Club. We're going to watch his qualifying run as he dives down into turn number 1 on lap 1, all the way down to the white line. These corners are very long. This is a 2-mile racetrack. There are only 2 on the schedule that are specifically 2 miles long. There's a number of them longer, a number of them shorter. So it's a pretty interesting challenge when you come out here to Auto Club or Michigan, the sister track. Coming off of turn 4, Matt Semple's going to use the bottom in both instances. Now what I want to do for lap 2 is let's jump on board here with Matt Semple, and let's take a lap around Auto Club in qualifying trim. You can see how Matt clips the apron with the left side tires, tries to rotate the car. That's too much rotation right there for driver 16, and Matt Semple not going to get that second lap the way he would have wanted. We'll jump on over to the 92 of Ed Jurgen, driver who had a good run in the Cyber Thunder, Cyber 500, excuse me, last week. Tried to go for 3 in a row, wasn't meant to be, did not happen. But Ed Jurgen is going to come off of turn 4 for the second time. Currently sitting P7 on the board. Where is that Jurgen's Lawn Care machine going to put it at the line for the second time? Ed Jurgen going to stay in P7. We jump over to Mike Stiverson halfway down the backstretch on the second lap here for the Home Depot machine. So we see Eric Anderson jump up to P2. That's going to be a front row start provisionally for driver 43. Currently on pole, Cody Gibson. We'll see what Mike Stiverson can do off of 4 and down to the line as Tom Richter puts it P6 on the board. Not for long. Mike Stiverson jumps up to row 2. That's going to be a 3rd place time, just under a 1/10 of a second off of pole. We jump over now to the Safe Flight machine, colors that we know oh so well. That's Andrew Caldwell, driver who came oh so close to a championship a couple of seasons ago. Now down into the line as Chris Rose jumps up to P4. Gary Bowman, P6. Andrew Caldwell is going to put it P9, and we'll jump over to Chris Rose in that 07 and see what Rose has for lap number 2. Greg Mitchell is going to put it P3 on the board at the moment as we have a little over a minute left in qualifying. Number of drivers electing to come out a little bit later into the 5-minute window they have to qualify. We'll see what Rose can do off of turn 4. Keeps the grip planted. Oh, gets into the wall. That will negate the lap. Let's see if Greg Mitchell has a better go of it through turns 3 and 4. Those familiar red and white colors that Mitchell loves to run. Comes off of 4 beautifully. Going to dive it down, cut the apron all the way to the start-finish line. And that Camaro is going to be starting this race on the front row. Knocks Eric Anderson off of the front row with that time right there. One more vehicle out on track, looking to get at least 1 lap in. That is going to be Theodore Todorov. Oh my goodness. Theodore Todorov in the 31 machine. This bright magenta Exalta race car out here. Going to dive it down into turns 3 and 4. This is going to be the conclusion of lap 1. Maybe gets a little loose off of the corner right there. That is going to hinder that time and not going to have enough time to get a second lap in. So whatever that time is, that's going to be the one. It's going to be P33 on the board for Theodore. There are 6 drivers who elect not to take a time here in qualifying. And with that, we are ready to set our grid. All right, gotta catch my breath for a second. Not used to this whole broadcasting solo thing. Let's pull up our starting order. Why don't we? And why don't we start from the actual top of the list right here? It's going to be Cody Gibson on pole for tonight's event, that Five Kings Motorsports driver. Starting off with a bang, Greg Mitchell in P2 sharing the front row. Row 2 is going to be Eric Anderson and Mike Stiverson. Bit of a nice surprise there on row 2. We got Chris Rose starting P5, Matt Semple defending champion in P6. Gary Bowman's going to roll off 7th out of Jason Raymond in 8th. Brad Holmes starts 9th, and Andrew Caldwell rounds out the top 10. Usual co-host Tom Richter going to be starting off the season opener in P11. Corey Sherman rolls off in P12. Philip Van Vliet's going to start us in 13th. Ed Jurgen in 14th. Larry Bell rounds out the top 15. Leroy Koblenz is going to start us off in 16th. Jared Anderson P17. Rick Thompson starts in 18th. Amanda Sherman 19th. And Chris Letts to round out the top 20. In 21st, it's going to be Nathan Dufton ahead of driver 9, Brian Dorsey, P22. Dustin Ping, the big winner in the Cyber 500, starts P23, Lee Campbell alongside. Brad Collins, 25th, Logan Spencer, 26th. P27 is going to be Andy Cork, P28, Steven Busick, 29th, Carter Lawson, and rounding out the top 30, Dave Gainforth. 31st, it's going to be Christian Warsham, new member here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League ahead of Paxton Frith in P32. Hito Todorov in 33rd, Frank DiMaggio 34th, and Tanner Marr rounds out the top 35. Rounding out the entire field as a whole, Carl Cantonis, Fred Thompson, Dwayne Young, and Casey Tomlinson. That is our field, our full field here in Auto Club for the season opener in 2026-1. See all these race cars bunching up for the very first time. And as the lights are out on that pace car, we are going to get ready to see the two dominating drivers of last season, Cody Gibson, Greg Mitchell, split most of the season in wins for themselves. They're going to roll us off in 26-1, right where they left off, in front of the field. On the front row, the sun has set, the lights are out, these drivers are ready, the cars are new. And for the first time in 2026, we are racing in the O'Reilly Rush Championship Series. To the line for the first time, it's going to be Cody Gibson, who holds on to lead the first lap out of Greg Mitchell in P2. Everyone else getting themselves single-filed out. You got to go all the way back to the 34 of Tom Richter, the 3 of Corey Sherman. These two doing battle early on in the race. Corey not giving Tom any space as we're nearly 3 wide with Caldwell up top. Headed down the back straightaway, Corey Sherman's going to get the advantage right there. Going to have the momentum. Tom's going to keep it planted on that left rear. Try and side draft down into turn number 3. That Bucky's machine not going down without a fight. Andrew Caldwell in the 46. Fancies a shot around the outside. Going to try and take that safe flight machine up and into the top 10. Might have to wait a little further as Tom does clear right there. A little further up ahead, the pressure is on. Cody Gibson has stepped away, but Eric Anderson and Chris Rose fancy themselves a shot at Greg Mitchell for P2. One thing to keep in mind is that the tires are going to fall off. These drivers are expecting to struggle with the right front tire specifically here in tonight's event. Through that practice hour, there was a lot of complaining about that right front tire, a lot of complaining about how tight these race cars are, how they just don't want to rotate. And we're specifically looking at about lap 8 in any given run after swapping out those tires. So at the start of the race here, it will be lap 8 when that big tire fall off starts to hit. We are now on lap 4, about halfway to where the tires are going to start really becoming a problem for some of these drivers who are unsure as to how they need to properly take care of it. We are 3 wide racing, multiple rows deep at this point. We're going to watch Dustin Ping down the back straightaway here, currently up 8 positions in P15. Winner of the Cyber 500 a couple of days ago. Only has 1 points victory here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. The Cyber 500, of course, a big event, but an exhibition event nonetheless. Dustin Ping looking to start off this season with a bang. He gets ahead of Tom Richter in the 34. That moves him up into P14 as we continue to watch some of the closest battles on track at the moment. Down into turn 1, Jared Anderson in the 5, up 6 spots from where he started, looking to get the move done on Mike Stiverson. Looks like we got a couple of drivers being supported out there in chat. We've covered Tom quite a bit, but of course, always good to see you in chat, Kathy. We've also got a Jason Raymond supporter out here. I do love Jason. Great guy. Hadn't known him until he joined Cyber last season, but I was able to talk to Jason a good amount. We worked together a little bit this past weekend in the Cyber 500. A lot of fun to race around that 49. Currently running in P6, holding off that charge from Gary Bowman just behind. Bowman, who runs the 8 car. The tower will likely show an incorrect number for a number of these drivers, but Gary Bowman out there, brand new look. And that Blackstone machine, that metallic red and black, pretty intimidating colors out there for Gary. As a little further up ahead, Greg Mitchell still under pressure from Eric Anderson in that 43. Something about season openers for that bright blue 43 at this rate. Last year, won it in Daytona. A little bit of a different challenge out here in Auto Club, but Eric Anderson has come to play by the looks of it. And take that high side, try and get that run to close in on Greg. We are about a lap away from the big tire fall off that these drivers had mentioned. About 8 to 9 laps in, they really start to feel it. So we're getting to that point. Most of the field has kind of spread themselves out at this point. They're able to kind of manage their races, run at the pace that they're comfortable running at the moment. You got to go all the way back here for the first side-by-side action. This is just on the very cusp of the top 10. Corey Sherman in that bright green 3, 10th place on track as we watch maybe 3 wide, maybe not. Mike Stiverson ducks back into line. Dustin Ping still hard charging through the field, up 10 positions from where he started this race. Make it 11 if he can get this pass done. That's biggest mover to the 81 thus far. As we watch Corey Sherman close in on the back of Andrew Caldwell. Gonna have to be careful coming out of the corner that close to the wall, but all is good and well. As a little further back, Jared Anderson to the inside of Stiverson. Reminder, stage 1 ends at the conclusion of lap 20. So we are approaching halfway through stage 1 pretty quickly here. Green flag racing since the start of the event. Looks like Eric Anderson has fallen off of the back of Greg Mitchell just a little bit. That's going to bring him back to Chris Rose in the 07. As we now work lap 9, this is where these drivers are going to start dealing with some potential issues out of the tires. Chris Rose hard into the outside wall right there. Could not get that thing rotated center off. That is going to bring Brad Holmes into the picture a little closer. We'll see if Chris Rose can get that momentum going again, find that rhythm before the 00 closes in. But as these runs go on, as the tires wear out, passing is going to become a little bit more and more of a challenge, regardless of where you're running in the field. We are 3 wide a little further back. That's Tom Richter on the outside, Ed Jurgen in the middle, and Nathan Dufton in the 47, making the move down to the inside. Maybe going to bring Larry Bell along with Larry in that 05, unable to stick a nose in there. Looks like these drivers are going to figure it out and just keep it out of the wall. Great driving out of everyone right here. Dustin Ping now making the move on Corey Sherman. This is for 10th place on the track. Move Dustin up 13 from where he started this race. Not having the qualifying effort he would have wanted, but looking good in race trim so far is that Ping Precision Motorsports machine. Corey Sherman's going to fight back on the inside, though, of course. And, oh, speaking of which, driving that AI Chief machine, I want to give a big shout-out to AI Chief and the driver of the 3, who is the creator, the founder, the lead developer over at AI Chief, working on some really cool stuff, and has stepped up in a big way and sponsored this entire season here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. The O'Reilly Rush Championship Series is presented by AI Chief, and you'll see that bright green 3 representing those colors all throughout the season. You'll also see Philip Van Vliet in the 89 representing the AI Chief colors as a TNA Motorsports teammate. But we're not done yet, because Amanda Sherman in the 88 is the 3rd and final vehicle out there representing those colors. All of TNA Motorsports helping each other out, promoting Chief, and you love to see it. Each one's got their own color. Always makes for a fun time. Here we go then, battle for the race lead. It's going to be Greg Mitchell putting the pressure on Cody Gibson. This is the first time Gibson's been under pressure so far in tonight's event. Perhaps Mitchell waited a little bit, let his tires come to him. He's going to dive all the way down to the apron, try and get as far away from that Camaro up top as he can. Dives it down into turn 1. He's most of the way ahead. Can he clear through the center of the corner and slide up ahead of Gibson? It is going to be oh so close, but yes indeed. Move Greg Mitchell to the point, officially new race leader on lap 13. How can Cody Gibson respond, if at all? We have a yellow. Big problems down the back straightaway as Dwayne Young is backwards in the outside fence. Amanda Sherman with issues as well. And we are going to need to take a look at exactly what happened. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the 2 drivers in question. Let's see if we can't get a good view right here. Maybe from the blimp. This is a nice little camera angle. We'll keep it in slow motion. That's Leroy Koblenz in the 42 on the high side, about to make it 3 wide off of the corner. It looks like the 08 and the 88 are going to come together, separate from the fact that Leroy is up top. Leroy, unfortunately, going to get caught in that incident right there, as is the 9 of Brian Dorsey. Going to get some right front damage. Not what you want to see. And I believe that's Chris Letts in that gray car, just going to scrape by. And did anyone else get a piece of that? Carter Lawson nearly. Looks like everyone else makes it through. Tell you what, let's get one more look at this. I want to see this from on board the 88 of Amanda Sherman. That is a tough deal, tough situation to be in. Looks like Dave Gainforth had a bit of a ride right there. He's got some damage on that 15. I'm not sure where. I guess we're going to get another look right here. And right on board with the raid machine. Oh. Dave kind of just gets run over right there. I believe that was Paxton Frith. Or... excuse me, maybe not Paxton Frith. I'm trying to see who that damaged vehicle is down there. Not entirely sure. We got a number of drivers on pit road, but these cautions last a while. We can go back and take another look. Let's see if we can't see what happens here to old Pudding as everyone begins to check up. I know the 21 car is right there. And I know Dave gets hit. Yeah, it was Paxton. Okay. The 21 gets into the 15, didn't have enough time to react to the big checkup right there. That's how Dave Gainforth gets a piece of that. But if you ask me, it looks like Amanda and Dwayne just kind of came together off of the corner. It almost seemed a little bit like one was going up, one was coming down. Not entirely sure how that is going to be called in regards to fault or no fault on the caution there, but in the meantime we can jump back up front and take a look at the running order. We have not hit the designation for stage number 1, and we have an interesting situation here because the top 26 drivers have not come down on pit road. However, A number of drivers have been on pit road under this yellow. Carter Lawson, Paxton, Frith, Tito, Todorov, Fred Thompson, Dave Gainforth, Christian Worsham. A mix of tires and fuel, some getting damage repaired, particularly Amanda Sherman, Dwayne Young, Leroy Koblenz, Brian Dorsey, with significant enough damage to keep it parked on pit road for a bit. Tanner Marr did not take the green flag in tonight's event. So 38 drivers running and having taken the green flag to begin with. Lights are out on that pace car. Greg Mitchell, the race leader, is going to elect to take the inside for this restart. That puts Cody Gibson on the outside. Row 2 is going to be made up of Eric Anderson and Brad Holmes. Row 3, Chris Rose, Gary Bowman. Row 4 is going to be Jason Raymond and Matt Semple. Row 5, rounding out the top 10. That's Corey Sherman on the inside of Andrew Caldwell in the 46. That is going to be our top 10 as we look to have a shootout to the end of stage 1. We are going to be restarting this race on lap 17. The conclusion of the stage will happen at the conclusion of lap 20. We are only going to have a handful of laps right here. This is going to get intense. First stage points of the year up for grabs for these drivers. It's a long season, 23 races. You're going to want all the points that you can get, considering winning a race does not, I believe, does not lock you in. I'd have to double check on that for this season's points, but either way, pace car pulls off and into the restart zone we go. It's going to be Greg Mitchell on that loud pedal. Little bit of wheel spin throughout the field. A number of drivers getting a little squirrely, namely Eric Anderson from P3 right there. That is going to stack up the back of the top 5 as Greg Mitchell and Cody Gibson get a clean runaway. But now the battle is on from 3rd through 10th pretty much. Brad Holmes is going to keep Eric Anderson pinned on the inside, take that 00 down the back straightaway up into P3. He is going to clear, bring Chris Rose along with him in the 07 down into turn 3 now. Chris Rose, see what he can do, but can't count out Gary Bowman in that 8 machine just behind. All right, here we go. Coming out of turn 4, Gary Bowman pokes that nose to the inside of Eric Anderson. We can move Chris Rose up to P4 in the running order. Bowman going to try and make a move to the inside. Reminder, these drivers have not pitted for tires yet. All of this is going on some old tires, and Eric Anderson continuing to lose out big since the drop of the green flag on this restart. That 43 car had looked strong the entire race before that yellow. Trying to get back into a rhythm right here. Under pressure from Jason Raymond in the 49. Raymond to the inside. Potentially going to get that position. Yes, indeed. The 49 clears. Maybe not for long. Eric's going to fight back on the outside line. Can he get there? He cannot. And Eric Anderson not done quite yet. More pressure coming. Corey Sherman on the inside. Matt Semple just behind as we now work 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. Corey Sherman makes the move. Mike Stuyvesant looking to get clear off of the corner. He is going to get there. A big checkup right there. Matt Semple in the 16 gets a piece of that and gets slight nose damage, I think. Let's see if we can see that 16 coming around through the corner. I saw momentary nose damage. I think the sim corrected itself and decided they weren't going to give the 16 any damage out of that one. Sometimes that's how it works. As we jump a little further up and take a look at some of the battles that we have going on. Gary Bowman, Chris Rose neck and neck across the line. 1 to go here in stage number 1. And up front, Cody Gibson trying to put the pressure on Greg Mitchell. Can't quite get a nose in there as of yet. Down the back straightaway we go. Gary Bowman clears for P4. Corey Sherman trying to look and make a move on Chris Rose a little further back. Up front, Cody Gibson, I don't think, is going to be able to get there. We'll watch as Corey Sherman makes the move to the inside. P5 now for the Shermanator. Getting past Chris Rose, coming to the line now. The caution will fly as 10th place crosses the line. That block is effective, and there we go. Caution is out. Stage points are locked in at the time of yellow. And we'll wait for all of these drivers to get slowed down to pace speed so we can get our official running order as of the official stage point payouts. But the big name on top at the end of 20 laps, it's going to be Greg Mitchell in the 55, resuming in his winning ways. 7 wins, 7 or 8 wins on the season. Last go around, I'll have to fact check myself on that one, but I know it was at least 7. Mitchell and Gibson, they had 7 and 8. I just don't remember which one had 7 and which one had 8. But those are the top 2 in the running order, top 2 at the end of the stage. No surprise there. Greg Mitchell with the upper hand at the moment. As everyone gets slowed on down to pace speed, let's take a look at our top 10 results here in stage number 1. Greg Mitchell walks away with those 10 bonus points from winning the stage. Cody Gibson's going to walk away with 9 points in the championship. Brad Holmes in the 00. He's up 6 spots from where he started. 8 points to Brad Holmes. 7 points for Gary Bowman in P4. 6 points for the Shermanator, Corey Sherman, P5. Chris Rose comes home in 6th at the end of stage 1. Jason Raymond, 7th. Mike Stiverson in 8th. 2 points go to Dustin Ping, who is up 14 positions from where he started this race. And the final point in stage 1 goes to the 43 of Eric Anderson, who did not enjoy that short run to the green and white checkered flag at the end of stage 1. Drivers getting ready to pull down on pit road for the first time for much of the field. Everyone going to bring it down on a pit road, get 4 tires and fuel as we look to turn our attention now to stage 2. Get a good shot right here of everyone bringing it down. I'll be curious to see if any of the drivers who pit under that lap 14 yellow elect to stay out here. It doesn't look like it. Looks like everyone, even those who had pit before, are going to come down. Maybe not Frank DiMaggio a little further back. Frank DiMaggio did indeed pit on lap 15. That 24 machine is going to stay out. The only driver out on track who did not come down right here. So we'll see how this plays out. That is going to put Frank DiMaggio in P1, 33 spots ahead of the rest. Jared Anderson did not stop in the box. Missed his stall by the looks of it. So Jared Anderson will not be in P2 effectively. Did Greg Mitchell beat Cody Gibson off a pit road right there? That was close. That was about as close of a race as you're going to get. We'll stay right here and watch the remainder of the field make their way off a pit road. Try and find your favorite driver, see how they're doing. Stage 2 here at some point. When we get a long green flag run going, we'll make sure to run through the field and give each one of these drivers a little bit of camera time. Looks like Greg Mitchell did indeed get out ahead of Cody Gibson. Just barely. It's hard to beat that first pit stall on pit exit. So kudos to the 55. Great stop right there. All right. Why don't we get a word with our stage 1 winner, Greg Mitchell in the 55. Greg, it's Arie the Boot that you got me.
I got you.
All right. Well, I tell you what. Stage 1 was kind of a tale of 2 halves. In the first half, it seemed like Cody Gibson felt pretty comfortable, got himself a bit of a gap, and then around that halfway mark, you were able to reel him in, make the pass, and hold him off the rest of the way. It was only 20 laps, however. How did that first 20 laps of this race feel, and what are you thinking moving forward?
Feels pretty good. I mean, I think we're all burning our right fronts off here, so we're all trying to manage that a little bit. I was trying to save for a little while, see if I had something for Cody at the end of that run, but yeah, I think we're all kind of feeling each other out and trying to find good lines that work for all of us right now. So we'll see how the second stage goes.
That we will. Well, I tell you what, we'll send you back down into your team call. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Arie.
All right, that is our Stage 1 winner, Greg Mitchell in the 55, who's going to be restarting P2, first car on the outside, as the 24 Frank DiMaggio stays out under yellow here. Frank did pit on lap 15 for 4 tires and fuel. Presumably, it did not run very hard for those final 4 to 5 laps in Stage 1 under green to save those tires, get himself the track position. So we're going to see right here, Frank is on older tires. but I'm going to assume he didn't burn them up too bad whatsoever. How well can that DuPont machine hold on? These are indeed the Xfinity cars, well, formerly known as the Xfinity cars, now known as the O'Reilly cars, as Real World NASCAR made that sponsorship change. Pace car is off, and into the restart zone we go. Frank DiMaggio in control of the field. Green flag is out, and oh, big stack up. This is going to cause big issues. The 46 goes around into the grass. Andrew Caldwell, big damage. Multiple vehicles involved, and we are still green. Now the yellow comes out. Parking lot on the front straightaway. We are going to need some replays. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Saw that one coming from a mile away. Let's rewind the tape. And let's get a look right here. This is a stack up that started at the front of the field. And I tell you what, let's actually go back to the green flag because the stack up had already happened at this point. We're going to go back to the green flag right here, and we're going to get a look from the blimp. Here's what I'm going to try and do. We're going to get up to the restart zone. I'm going to slow it down right about here. So this stack up begins with the first two on the inside. As Frank DiMaggio doesn't go until the green flag, Gibson is ready to push him. He has to check up. Now, this is going to slow down that inside line. Everyone bumping everyone. The 49 into the 3 is a big hit. The 46 into the 49, and Dustin Ping finishes off Andrew Caldwell. Dustin Ping gets a massive hit from Ed Jurgen. Nathan Dufton has nowhere to go at this point. Those three are going to stay tangled as Caldwell slides down to the inside. Jurgen ends up around. The 09 gets pushed by Chris Letts. Further back, the 43 is in the outside wall off of the 39. I'm going to need an onboard of that 39 as there's a number of things happening right there. The 41, the 15, innocent bystanders, the 98, innocent bystanders just being collected in this carnage on the restart. We'll get a couple looks at this. As, let's go ahead and take a look from this angle right here in real time. I don't even know what camera angle we should use for this, to be quite honest. Here we go. Let's take a look at this camera angle. All right, here comes the stack up right there. Caldwell's going to go flying in the air. A hood flies up, as everyone else. The 15 gets hit up into the air as well, as everyone just goes for the ride right here. One more replay because I wanted to get an onboard from the 33. This is a newcomer to the Cyber Thunder Racing League, Christian Worsham. And it felt like the 33 had not gotten the memo in time. Absolutely did not. That's going to be big to the 43, even bigger to the 15 of Gainforth. Two massive hits right there from the 39. 39 on track, 33 on the scoring tower. Again, numbers are incorrect tonight due to some technical issues for a number of these drivers. Well, I tell you what, that is not how you want to start stage 2. Back up front, no changes for the most part. Maybe Frank DiMaggio in control as the lights go out on the pace car. Greg Mitchell P2, Cody Gibson P3 as we run. We'll see if we can't get a better restart this time around. Number of drivers on pit road still. Leroy Koblenz, Chris Letts, Dustin Ping, Christian Worsham, Dave Gainforth, all on pit road for extended periods of time for damage. I am showing a black flag for the 43 of Eric Anderson. Not entirely sure what that is from. We'll keep that situation monitored as well. Eric currently back in P31 at the moment. We have a couple of vehicles that got some damage. Corey Sherman on the front end right there. I tell you what, I could probably take a good look from the gearbox of Brad Holmes. We can see the nose of that 3 car right there. And similarly, the case for Jason Raymond. Here's a look back at Jason Raymond in the 49. Got some nose damage. That's going to be significant here at Auto Club. Those two are going to want to get that damage fixed as soon as they can, because this is a very aerodynamic track. Having that front splitter on the bottom of that front bumper all bent out of shape like that is not going to do you any favors whatsoever. But that is for them to figure out as the pace car pulls off, and we are ready to get going once again. Let's take a look from the blimp into the restart zone. We go. Much better restart for the field. Frank DiMaggio with a huge launch down towards turn 1. All right, 3 wide, a little further back as Frank DiMaggio holds on to the race lead, but we've got Bowman, we've got Holmes, we've got Mitchell 3 wide down the front straightaway. Greg Mitchell holding on to 3rd, but Brad Holmes in that 00 wants a piece of what's going on. That 00 was a hard charger towards the end of stage 1. A little bit earlier on, was able to save those tires and make something happen. He is going to try and use a little bit more of them early in the run right here. Going to get crossed over by Greg Mitchell in the 55. Those two are going to continue to do battle. A little further back, we can see pressure on Corey Sherman from the 16 of Semple. Now remember, Corey Sherman has that front end damage specifically to that splitter down there. You can see how that splitter gets a little wavy. That is going to be affecting the handling of that 3 car throughout the corners, but particularly as the run goes on and these tires start to age. That's when it's really going to be felt for the 3 and for the 49. Further up ahead, the battle for the race lead is on as Frank DiMaggio under pressure from Cody Gibson. Remember, Frank is on 7-lap older tires, though there are a number of caution laps out of that 7 right there, so Frank finally going to lose out the race lead to Cody Gibson, who notably is 2 spots ahead of Greg Mitchell. Those two were the 2 fastest in stage 1, so we'll see if this shakeup causes a different outcome here in stage 2. Brad Holmes is looking real racy out here tonight in that 00. It's kind of wild to think about. But for those of you guys watching out at home, Brad Holmes, for as much as we talk about that 00 here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network, has yet to win in the Cyber Thunder Racing League, has not found victory lane at any point, as he is actually going to have a little bit of a blink out right there down the back straightaway. That 00, he's got the speed to do it. It's only a matter of time. He just watched his teammate Matt Semple go out and win the championship last season, so you know Brad has got a fire lit under that race seat as he gets up into P2 ahead of Frank DiMaggio now. Rest of the top 10 all single filed out down the front straightaway. And here is the Hornet's Nest. We've got a bit of a kerfuffle going on back here. 3 wide down into turn 1. So we see Philip Van Vliet stuck in the middle of this sandwich. Jason Raymond in that 49, he is struggling. He is going backwards fast, as is Corey Sherman. Those 2 drivers, we were just talking about the front end damage they have under caution. Those 2 are going backwards in a hurry. And I'm telling you, I think it's because they need to get that front end damage fixed. Jason Raymond has some significant rear end damage as well. Thankfully, it doesn't affect that spoiler. That's the spot you really don't want to get hit. As oh, we've got contact. The 31, Tito Todorov, bouncing off of the wall, bouncing off of Philip Van Vliet. And finally, getting it going again, as that 31 car manages to keep it straight, but that was a close one. As we've got more battles going on right here, we jump a little further up the field. Logan Spencer in P11 going to get ahead of Brad Collins and Nathan Dufton. We've got the 76 of Rick Thompson looking to pressure Chris Rose. This is a battle for 5th place. On track at the moment, top 5 up for grabs. So it looks like that battle's going to have to wait a little bit longer These two continue to do battle. The 47 of Dufton, the 67 of Collins. Brad Collins having a pretty good showing out here tonight. Speed Mafia driver. Couple of spots back. Paxton Frith going to lose out that spot to Larry Bell in the 05. Can't miss that Eagle Eye towing machine. Bright purple 5 Kings Camaro out on track week in and week out. Jared Anderson in that 5. Going to try and make that move to the inside of Paxton Frith. Going to try and bring that Red Bull machine, Red Bull teammate of Carl Cantonis along with him. Going to have to wait maybe a little longer to get that move to stick and go further up the board and take a look at the top 5. Once again, Greg Mitchell currently running in P3 at the moment, has gotten around Frank DiMaggio, can set his eyes on Brad Holmes and Cody Gibson further up the road. DiMaggio holding strong. This strategy seems to have worked wonders for the 24 as he came from all the way in the furthest back reaches of the field with that strategy, flipping stage 1 right there. Regardless of if he loses a couple more spots or not, this is going to be a net positive for DiMaggio. Looks like everyone's gotten themselves single filed out through the top 10. This battle continues to persist between Dufton and Collins a little further back. 9 laps to go here in stage number 2. Looks like everyone has gotten themselves to a comfortable enough running position as Dufton tries to hold on down the back straightaway, going to carry that momentum. Still battling it out with Brad Collins. A little further up ahead, Greg Mitchell starting to put the pressure on Brad Holmes. Battle for P2. He's going to have that door shut. That dirty air washes over the nose of that 55, causes him to have to get out of the gas just a little bit. That's going to advantage the 00 of Brad Holmes. 1 spot behind. Chris Rose looks to the outside of Frank DiMaggio. Gets that nose in there on entry. How well can that 07 ride the middle? Gonna stay straddling that seam right there. That helps rotate that machine. Gonna try and bring Rick Thompson along with down the back straightaway right here. Everyone having better tires than Frank DiMaggio from flipping that stage right there. The single vehicle on an altering strategy. He's going to lose that spot to Chris Rose, maybe another to Rick Thompson. With that momentum down the front straightaway right here, should be a done deal. Now would be as good a time as any with 7 laps to go here in stage 2 to run through the field and take a look at the drivers who make up the season opener here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League 2026-1 season. Your race leader is Cody Gibson, driver out of Colorado Springs, followed by Greg Mitchell in the 55, driver out of Austin, Texas. We've got Brad Holmes in P3, Chris Rose in the 07, New Jersey native Rick Thompson, currently in the top 5 out of Utah. We got Mike Stiverson running in P6. On track, Gary Bowman in P7, ahead of Frank DiMaggio, of course, in the 24. Matt Semple, defending series champion, finds himself in P9. Ahead of Tom Richter, my usual co-host, out of Allentown in that 34. Logan Spencer in the 19, 1 spot further back. We've got a battle right here. This is, of course, Nathan Dufton and Brad Collins doing battle as they have been for a minute right here. We've got Jared Anderson in the 5, currently running 14th. Lee Campbell in 15th. Larry Bell in that 05 is the driver running 16th, ahead of Paxton Frith in 17th. Andy Cork, the Frozen Custer Machine, finds himself in P18. Philip Van Vliet, the Lone Dutchman, in that 89 machine, currently running in 19th, ahead of Dwayne Young in that 08. Carl Cantonis in the 99 machine. Carter Lawson currently finds himself P22, ahead of Todorov in that 31. We've got Andrew Caldwell in that 46 after getting that damage early on. Corey Sherman in the 3, out of Williamson. Amanda Sherman, wife of Corey, back here in 26. Steven Music in P27 in that 09 machine. Jason Raymond in 28th, nursing that damage on that race car. Fred Thompson, driver of the 80 machine, out here in 29th. Casey Tomlinson in 30th. Dustin Ping with that damaged race car. Looks like he's gotten most of it fixed at this point. Chris Letts in the 65 machine currently running 32nd. Leroy Koblenz still on track back here in 33rd. Eric Anderson in 34th, now taking that spot away. Graybeard Racing driver nursing damage on that right front right there. And Christian Worsham in the pits. Brian Dorsey still making some laps out there in the 9, running in 36. Dave Gainforth in the raid machine currently 37th. And it looks like that is our field as they run. Everyone at the exception of Tanner Marr, who did not take the green flag to start tonight's event, and Ed Jurgen, who is out of the race with terminal damage on that 92 machine. Those are the two we could not take a look at, but back up front, 3 to go here in stage number 2. Cody Gibson ahead of Greg Mitchell. Rick Thompson, the driver, now sitting in P3, climbing his way up the ranks. Rick Thompson is up 15 positions from where he started tonight's event at 76, still looking for his first career win here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. Could tonight be the night for Rick Thompson? We are going to find out in due time as Matt Semple continues to make his way forward. That 16 car is on a mission. When we went through the field, he was on the outskirts of the top 10. He's about to make the move for P4 on Chris Rose. That 16 car has something cooking, as he is to the outside, but oh boy, they were rubbing fenders on corner exit right there as Chris Rose was using all of the racetrack. It's going to bring the 07 to the inside of Rick Thompson in the 76. It's going to be a 3-way battle as the 07 has to get out of it. That's going to cause the 16 to come around the outside. Can he get to the outside of Rick Thompson? Just barely gets the door closed right there. Push to the 76. And Semple is going to have one more lap to try and get up to P3 before the stage points are awarded. A little further up, though, Greg Mitchell has caught the rear bumper of Cody Gibson in the 7. It is the final time around for stage number 2 here on lap 45. Can Greg Mitchell get there through 3 and 4? He is going to have the one more opportunity to stick that nose in there and make it happen. I don't think it's going to be enough. Coming off of turn number 4 for the final time here in stage number 2. Cody Gibson going to reverse the roles and take home the stage points here in stage number 2. A little further back, it is a cluster across the start-finish line as we wait for these drivers to get slowed down and we can determine the running order as of the conclusion of stage number 2. The big name on top, about halfway through the race, that's going to be Cody Gibson, our pole sitter tonight. Stage 1 got second place. Stage 2 walks away with maximum points. That is going to be 10 big ones to Cody Gibson. Greg Mitchell inverts the roles, first and now second here in stage number 2. Rick Thompson going to score a lot of stage points here coming home in P3. Matt Semple gets 4th place stage points. Chris Rose rounds out the top 5. Tom Richter in that 34 going to get 6th place stage points ahead of Gary Bowman in 7th. Mike Stiverson is the driver in P8 at the end of stage number 2. Frank DiMaggio holds on for 2 stage points by the time the green and white checkered falls, and Brad Holmes gets that final point at the end of stage 2. Brad had gotten up to P2 at the start of the stage, perhaps used a little too much tire to do so, found himself falling towards the end of it, just barely held on for that final stage point. Pace car is out on the racing surface, and I believe this yellow will give the lucky dog to driver 81, Dustin Ping. I believe we'll have an opportunity to take the lucky dog on this yellow. All right, drivers getting ready to dive down on pit road. for most of which it will be the second time this evening for Tires and Fuel here at the end of Stage 2. It is all out to the end of the race after this. No more guaranteed yellows for these drivers to look forward to or base their strategies off of as we are working our fourth caution of the evening. Second stage break. Cody Gibson, Greg Mitchell, the top two throughout the evening, going to bring us down into their pit stalls. And we will wait to see who gets the job done the best here at the end of Stage 2. All right, Cody Gibson going to hold in the lead right there ahead of Mitchell, Semple, and Richter. Stuyvesant completes the top 5 on pit exit. Gary Bowman completes the top 5 on pit exit. Everyone else makes their way on off. And we see these drivers make their way back to the rear end of the pace car. And I tell you what, while these drivers are doing so, let's get a word with our Stage 2 winner, driver of the 1 and or the 7. Cody Gibson, it's Arie up in the booth. You got me.
I got you.
All right, well, I tell you what, this race has been, it's pretty much been a toss-up between you and Greg at this point. In Stage 1, it was kind of half and half. Greg walked away with it in Stage 2 there. You were able to hold on despite the pressure that he was putting late on in there. You guys seem to be pretty evenly matched, whereas you're kind of the stronger one on the short runs. He's able to reel you in a little bit on the long runs. What are you going to need through the rest of the race here?
I'm going to have to practice on the long runs now that if there's not any caution. So I don't know. I don't know what he's doing different. I kind of caught on watching in my review going into 1. Seems like he was entering a little lower than me, hitting the brakes and right back in the gas. So try something a little different, see if I can't save my tires.
Alrighty, I got one more question before we let you go back and race with the team here. When are we going to see the Christmas paint schemes put away for the year?
We were talking about that in Discord before the race, and Rain was like, "Hey, I'll paint you a car." I was like, "Nah." It's like 10 minutes before the session's open. I was like, "Let's roll with this Christmas one more race."
All right, one more race. I tell you what, if March rolls around and it's still there, we're gonna have words. I'll send you back down there. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, that is our Stage 2 winner, Cody Gibson. Normally driver of the 1 machine, the scoring tower will have him in the 1. Reminder that a number of these drivers' race car numbers are incorrect tonight due to some technical difficulties. So if there is a name that doesn't align with the number you're used to seeing, it should be corrected in 1 week's time, next Tuesday for Phoenix race number 2. All right, fields bunched up. Cody Gibson in control on the restart. Bright blue 7 machine on the inside. On the outside, it's going to be Greg Mitchell, row 2, Matt Semple, Tom Richter, as we get ready to hit the restart zone for stage number 3. Big bump to the rear end of Cody Gibson. Matt Semple with a huge launch on the start, and that is not going to be good news if you are Matt Semple, because all of a sudden that 16 machine looks to have some front end damage from just how big of a hit that was. Let's see if we can't confirm potentially the situation with the 16 car, and we're going to see as these drivers make their way through 3 and 4. We'll get a good camera angle right here, but defending champion Matt Semple, yeah, he's got that splitter bent out of shape with that push right there, and we saw what that did to Corey Sherman and Jason Raymond in stage 2. Those two could not manage to keep the pace that they were used to keeping. They fell like a rock, so not good news for Matt Semple on that push right there. Cody Gibson in the 7. That machine is all good and well. Out front, going to hold on to this lead, but how about this? How about that Bucky's machine up 8 spots from where he started this race? Oh, we've got issues further back. Brad Holmes around, and big hit for Andy Cork in the 41. Oh my goodness. The 00 and the 41. Big big trouble as both are going to see the meatball flag, going to have to stop on pit road and get some mandatory damage repaired. Let's take a look at just what happened here as we exit turn number 2. 3 wide. Logan Spencer up on the wall. Brad Holmes in the middle. Frank DiMaggio on the inside. And oh no, Logan Spencer's going to bounce off of the wall. That's a teammate. The 19 in the 00 right there. Nathan Dufton's going to get some right front damage right there. That's going to be pretty significant damage. I could see that tire out of shape on that 47. And Andy Cork, you can see the tailpipes lighting up, trying to get slowed down, just nowhere to go after running at full speed right there. Those two are going to have a nasty impact. We will, of course, get a look from on board the 41 on this restart. Let's see if we can't ride on board with old Andy Cork. Oh my goodness. What an impact. Whew. Tell you what, let's get one more replay. This replay we'll get from on board. We'll get this from inside the car here with Logan Spencer, the driver who bounced off of the wall. You could just see where it shot the race car down into Brad Holmes. Logan Spencer didn't yank the wheel to the left, and he's actually going to have some damage on the right side of that car from that as well. The wall just kind of spits him out into the 00. Unfortunate that it was teammate on teammate incident right there. But sometimes that is just how it goes, and we return to live pictures here as we've got a number of vehicles down on pit road. This time by getting some damage fixed. Jason Raymond, Nathan Dufton, Dustin Ping, Brad Collins, Fred Thompson, Logan Spencer, Teodoro Todorov, Carl Cantonis, Casey Tomlinson, all on pit road. Leroy Koblenz still on pit road. Andy Cork as well. Notably, the 16 of Matt Semple. I'm not sure if he's aware he has that damage. Unless you're listening to the broadcast, I don't think these drivers are going to be aware of just how much that slight indentation on that splitter can affect these race cars. I was kind of taken aback at how much it negated the performance out of the 3 and the 49 earlier, because it doesn't seem like all that much damage, but those two had nowhere near the pace that they had earlier in the race once they got that damage. So we'll see. We'll keep tabs on that 16. The Alto Construction Machine defending champion here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League. See if the lights are going to go out on the pace car this time by. Yes, indeed. Lights are out one more time as the field gets ready to double up. Cody Gibson remains in control of the field. Do I hear? Let's jump on board. Uh-huh. Greg Mitchell. What we're doing right now is we're listening to if these drivers are saving fuel. Cody Gibson is cutting that race car off, cutting the engine off to save fuel. Tom Richter in P3. Matt Semple, P4. Cody Gibson seems to be the only one. I had noticed it into turn 1. I could hear the engine cutting off. We jumped through a bunch of these onboard cameras with these drivers throughout the top 10. All right. Wondering what our fuel situation might be. 30 laps was the number I was given, 29 to 30, if I am remembering correctly. But we'll worry about that when the time comes. Lights are out on that pace car. Once again, getting ready to pull off of the racing surface. It's going to be Cody Gibson in control on the inside. Greg Mitchell on the outside. Row 2, Tom Richter, Matt Semple. Row 3, Gary Bowman and Rick Thompson. As we hit the restart zone yet again, And we are under green with 46 laps to go. Oh, big hit for Theodore Todorov. Great camera shot. But that 31 goes hard into the outside wall further back in the pack. Cannot get that Supra off of the wall. It is stuck up there and does not want to cooperate. Most of the pack makes their way around. But that 31 is going to be nursing some big damage at this point. With that impact right there, we jump further up into the field. As the battles heat up, P5 on back. That's Mike Stiverson trying to stick a nose to the inside of Matt Semple and take over 5th position. Coming out of turn 4 at this point, Cody Gibson continues to lead this race. But that Home Depot machine's going to look to enter the top 5 and get himself up into the conversation again. Mike Stiverson started in P4 in tonight's event, looking to get his way back up there. Matt Semple in the 16. This could be one of two things. This could be that damage coming to a front right here and causing him to lose some speed. This could also be Matt Semple saving some tires. We know that 16 it fancies saving the tires early on a run. He gave up positions in stage 2 and hard charge later on. He took care of his equipment. So that could very well be what we see out of the 16 right now. We'll just have to see how it plays out in due time. He's going to lose that spot to Jared Anderson in the 5. Jared Anderson having what could be a career night here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League in that 5 machine. He's up to P6 as it stands, 11 spots up from where he started tonight's race. Great run out of that Red Bull machine. As a little further back, we are flirting with 3 wide, and oh, Chris Rose is just going to have to get out of it right there. Sensible choice from the 07 is now he is going to be under pressure because here comes Lee Campbell in that 60 machine. Some new colors out here for Lee, rocking that Goodyear 60 Ford Mustang through turns 3 and 4 right here. 2x2x2x2. How about Andrew Caldwell, who had near terminal damage earlier on in that big stack-up incident? He is back on the lead lap. He is in P11 in a race car that looks completely repaired. So that Safe Light machine counting his blessings today as Chris Rose works to the outside of Rick Thompson down the back straightaway. And wow, this Hornet's Nest just keeps on giving as we are 3 wide, a little further back. 5 Kings sandwich right here, maybe 4 wide for half a second. These drivers are flirting with it, I tell you that. Every which way, up, down, left, right, through and over and around. But it looks like they're all going to get it sorted out down the front straightaway, down into turn number 1 right here. Everyone trying to figure it out. Mike Stiverson to the inside of Gary Bowman. This is a battle for P4. Gary Bowman's not going to fight that one too hard at the moment. Got a lot of race left to run. As further up the field, we see that Bucky's machine putting some pressure on the rear bumper of Greg Mitchell in that 55. Tom Richter trying to show out here in his return to full-time competition. Got a good-looking Toyota Supra out there on track under the lights. Gonna see what he can do with these top 2 who have been running away with the show out here this evening. Take a look back at the Hornet's Nest as these drivers are beating and banging. We're going to go 4 wide through turns 1 and 2. Lee Campbell from the top rope around the outside. Can he make it work down the back straightaway? He's going to use that side draft with Philip Van Vliet. They're going to figure it out, but we're 3 wide a little further back. Jason Raymond in that 49. Guess what? He's got that splitter fixed. He's moving forward while Matt Semple is moving backwards. This is pretty ironic. The 49 and the 3 who had that damage, Matt Semple has now They got it fixed and they're moving forward. Matt Semple's got that damage and he's moving backwards. Pay attention to those splitters out there, folks, drivers who are listening to this now or after the fact. Don't get caught out by that front end damage. Be careful how big of a push you're giving on these restarts. You never know just how much it could affect your race. Jump back up front. Tom Richter is hounding the rear bumper of Greg Mitchell. Let's ride on board with last season's co-host Tom Richter up here in the booth. Let's follow the Buc-ee's machine around for a lap. You can see just how big of a run Tom Richter gets down the back straightaway, giving that push to teammate Greg Mitchell. Both trying not to let Cody Gibson get too far away, but of course, long way to run here. 37 laps to go in tonight's event. Tell you what, I can fix the scoring up top right there. 64 of 100 as these drivers continue to circulate around the Auto Club Speedway, 2 miles around. And now Tom Richter to the inside of Greg Mitchell. And again, these two are teammates. Greg's not going to fight him too hard right here. He's going to let him take that position and have a go at Cody Gibson. As a matter of fact, we've got 3 teammates in line right here, the 34, the 55, and the 20 of Mike Stiverson currently running in P4. All 3 of these drivers are racing in the same call and do week in and week out. So do they have something figured out that they've been able to communicate with one another to give themselves a bit of an advantage? The 34 just keeps it out of the outside wall right there as Cody Gibson's lead now sits at about 0.6 of a second. Into turn number 3, we could take a look at some of the gaps. As it sits, the field has gotten themselves pretty spread out at this point. And it looks like the closest battles on track. This is one of them. I think Greg's probably going to be content to ride behind the 34 for a little bit right here. We go further back. We've got this 3-car battle back here for P18. Jason Raymond, Amanda Sherman, Dustin Ping having a go at one another. Maybe going to get a little bit of 3-wide action right here. Maybe, maybe not. Amanda Sherman's not a driver that we've mentioned too much out here tonight, but has kept that 88 car clean for the most part. Was involved in that first yellow ever so slightly, but seems to be doing pretty good out here tonight, running in 18th. Got that car clean, taking off the laps one by one, and that's what you got to do sometimes. As the 2 behind continue to do battle. Dustin Ping in that 81. That machine's probably not going to have nearly the speed that it had during the first runs of the race. Dustin got a huge chunk of that stack up incident caution. Got a lot of damage from that. Went a lap down. Had to get it all fixed. The race car looks great now that it's repaired, but I'm sure it's lacking a little bit of speed from what it started this race with. Dustin was doing pretty good at the start. We'll see what he can recover to before it is all said and done. We can jump back here to the back half of the top 10. Gary Bowman currently running in P7, trying to hold off Rick Thompson just behind. Frank DiMaggio just ahead. That 24 car pulled the strategy card of the night so far to get himself the track position, and he has not fallen out of the top 10 since. That 24 car holding his own nice and comfortably. A little further back, we've got a battle that's going to be Larry Bell defending from Lee Campbell, and Carter Lawson going to ride the wall out of the corner right there, take that momentum down the back straightaway, and make the move on the 60 machine down into turn number 3. Frank DiMaggio under pressure from the 76 of Rick Thompson's going to make that move down the front straightaway. We're going to try and get about even into the corner right here. It's like Frank might be falling back just a little bit right here at this point in the run. These drivers all last pit on lap 47. It is now lap 69. These are about 22 lap old tires at this point in the run. Mike Stiverson going to make a run to the inside of Greg Mitchell now, as the 55 is either struggling for speed at this moment or trying not to use too much of his tire just yet. This is going to be our longest run of the race, excuse me, as we are now 23 laps out from the last pit stop. This is the longest green flag run of the night. I don't believe we had a caution at the start of stage 3. We may have. I don't remember when that Andy Quirk and Brad Holmes incident was. Maybe it was the start of stage 3. Either way, 23 laps since the last time these drivers took tires. You get the idea. As the 34 is starting to experiment a little bit with what lines he wants to run, moving up the track just a little bit. Jared Anderson has now entered the picture in that 5 machine. That Red Bull Supra's got something figured out. He's got those tires working pretty good by the looks of it. Cody Gibson as well. He's starting to pull away. This gap is widening by a margin right here. Cody Gibson now over a second ahead of the rest of the field, as Tom Richter continues to hold on to second place. Down the back straightaway, he's got 2 teammates side by side just behind Jared Anderson in P4. Gary Bowman and Rick Thompson, they're not out of this either. They're going to be trying to close in on these guys. This is about to be a pretty big battle for P2 on back as we get closer and closer to the first green flag pit stop sequence of the evening. And assuming no caution comes out, this green flag pit stop sequence will make or break the race for every single one of these drivers. They're going to have to nail their stops, as that 55 stays glued to the rear end of the 34. And wow, Jared Anderson just slides up in front of Mike Stiverson on corner exit right there. You could not fit a piece of paper between those 2 race cars. Mike Stiverson's going to lose out big time checking up from that slide job right there. He's under pressure from the 76 of Rick Thompson at this point. Jared Anderson gets away with it as he moves up to P4 and sets his sights forward. Greg Mitchell to the inside, looking to make the move on teammate Tom Richter, trying to get himself back up into P2 so he can go chase down Cody Gibson. We'll see if that 55 can get this move done, or if we're going to be waiting for the first green flag pit stops to happen. We are within our pit window. Drivers can make it to the end on fuel at this point. 1 pit stop gets you to the finish. When do these drivers elect to take that pit stop? That is the question. As it looks like Greg is going to get that move done, move the 55 up into second place at this point. Just about 2 seconds behind race leader Cody Gibson. Tom's going to fight back to the inside right now. He is looking to make the move, looking to make the crossover, looking to keep the position. And he is going to do so. He drives it in pretty deep, keeps that glued down there. And Greg's going to look to carry the momentum down the back straightaway. These 2 trading positions back and forth, as everyone else is kind of single filed out. This is the closest battle on track, as Paxton Frith is on pit road. A 21 car making the pit stop. Tito Todorov in the 31 making the pit stop further back in the field. Mike Stiverson going to be the first of the race leaders to dive down. Brings Frank DiMaggio along with Larry Bell is going to come down on pit road. Amanda Sherman comes down on pit road. Number of takers on lap 75. 26 laps to go. Now the fuel window is open. The pit window is open. Mike Stiverson was the first of the top 5, top 10 to come down. That will surely cause a number of these drivers to consider coming down themselves. How much of an undercut do you allow that 20 car to get? That is the question. Jared Anderson, Gary Bowman, they're going to fancy coming down right now. They're going to bring Chris Rose along with, outside of the top 10, Matt Semple, Lee Campbell. They're also going to join a little further back as Cody Gibson continues to circulate out front, 1.7 seconds ahead of second place Tom Richter, bringing Greg Mitchell, teammate, along as well. You can see Mike Stiverson exiting the pits a little further behind. Who elects to come down this time by? We're going to keep our eyes glued on the race leader, Cody Gibson, who is positioning himself to stay out. Cody Gibson staying out as Tom Richter comes down on pit road this time. Greg Mitchell stays out on the track. Andrew Caldwell comes down. Corey Sherman, Carter Lawson this time through are going to make their way down onto pit road. No speeding penalties thus far. 24 laps to go. Cody Gibson remains on the surface. The race leader, he does have the advantage at the moment, does Cody Gibson. He had about 2 seconds before the cycle started, so he can stay out longer, sacrifice that 2 seconds on the front end, let everyone undercut him a little bit, and ensure that he has the best tires for that final stint. That's what I would do if I were leading the race like he is, and Cody Gibson will come down. Now, here's where it differs. Greg Mitchell is going to stay out on the track at least one lap further and try and play the long game right here. Greg Mitchell is going to try and give himself better tires than Cody Gibson for the remainder of the race. If he can stay out at least one more lap, it should be a significant enough difference to have a shot before it's all said and done. Mike Stiverson struggling to get around the lap vehicle of Casey Tomlinson a little further up ahead. We're going to see how this all plays out. Cody Gibson will come out with a time advantage over Greg Mitchell because of this strategy. But for the rest of the race, Greg Mitchell is going to have one lap newer tires as he now brings it down on pit road as one of the last vehicles in need of doing so. Dwayne Young will stay out this time by and officially lead this lap. Put the 08 on top of the board. Dustin Ping stays out. Carl Cantonis stays out as well. Logan Spencer is going to keep it on the track. These four drivers yet to pit. They are going to be hoping for a yellow flag to come out right about now. If these drivers, if this top four who have not yet pit, if they can get a caution in a timely manner, this could save their race, give them a shot. That's what they're going to be hoping for. Fifth on back has made their final pit stop. And I tell you what, it was a slow pit stop for Greg Mitchell. 15.02 seconds in the box. That is not what you want to see. Cody Gibson had a 14.6 second pit stop. Total pit lane time was 4 seconds slower than Cody Gibson for Greg Mitchell. So that is a huge time loss for the 55 on pit road. Fastest pit lane time out of anybody in contention was Cody Gibson with a 49.42 total pit lane time. The only drivers even close to that were Mike Stiverson with a 49.58 and Frank DiMaggio with a 49.67 total pit lane time, as we see Dwayne Young now down on the apron bringing it down slowly but surely. That gives the lead to Dustin Ping in the 81. For the time being, Dustin Ping still has to make his final pit stop. Carl Cantonis in the 99 comes down for his final pit stop. Where is Logan Spencer? Logan Spencer in the 19, way off sequence. He is going to stay out again as well. So the 81 and the 19 awaiting their final pit stops. The effective battle for the race lead, it's Frank DiMaggio at the moment with 20 laps to go. He was the first driver of the race leaders to come down onto pit road. He did one lap, or he and Mike Stiverson, excuse me, came down at the same time. So the 24 of DiMaggio, the 20 of Stiverson, they were able to undercut everybody else. They've got the track position at the moment. Gary Bowman just ahead of Cody Gibson and Tom Richter. Cody Gibson on those better tires has 2 laps better than Bowman, 1 lap better than Richter. Does Gibson in that blue Christmas Cheetos machine. He is going to get that move done and leave Tom Richter to battle it out with Gary Bowman, trying to follow Cody Gibson on up through the field. But I think Gibson's biggest competitor was going to be Greg Mitchell, and Greg Mitchell did not have a great pit lane time. not very competitive on pit road. Something had to have gone wrong for that 55. He has better tires than everyone around him at the moment, but I don't know if that one-lap advantage over Gibson's going to be enough from here on out, given the gap. And oh, Chris Rose gets bumped in the rear. Can he save it? No, he goes around, but he is off the racing surface. So the yellow flag has not flown. We are still green as Chris Rose gets help and pushed down off of the racing surface. Let's take a look at what happened here, as we're going to have to go a little further back. It looks like the 76 of Rick Thompson is going to get into the rear bumper of Chris Rose, who tries to get that thing corrected, eventually goes for that slide right there, down to the inside. We resume with our race leader, Logan Spencer, finally making his pit stop. That is the final driver in need of doing so. That's going to give the lead to Frank DiMaggio in the 24. Frank DiMaggio in control. Mike Stiverson, P2. Cody Gibson on better tires in P3. 3-lap tire advantage over the top two as we run. That is the situation. Cody Gibson closing in on the top two in the closing laps. He's got 17 laps to do so. Plenty of time, as all of these differing strategies look to converge. We go a little further back, and Rick Thompson putting the pressure on Andrew Caldwell. Battle for P8. Rick Thompson was another one of the drivers who stayed out a fair amount of time to give himself some good tires all the way to the end. We'll see that Speed Mafia machine moving forward from here through the finish. A little further back in the field, P18, Brad Collins trying to work over Chris Letts on the outside in that 65. Collins in the 67 should be able to get this move done down into turn number 1. He'll get just about there, and perhaps through 1 and 2 be able to clear by corner exit. Yes, indeed. Give that spot to Collins. Further up the road, Carter Lawson, Lee Campbell doing battle for P13. As, oh, don't look now. Cody Gibson has caught second place runner Mike Stiverson. With those 3-lap newer tires, he's going to power around the outside like it's nothing. And Cody Gibson can now set his sights on the race leader, Frank DiMaggio. 3-lap tire difference. He has been able to make these passes left and right with ease, and it looks like this will be no different. At the line, it's going to be 14 laps to go. Cody Gibson's going to get there right about at the line. He gets that run off of the corner and dives down to the inside. Now coming to the line, and at the line, it's going to be Gibson by a fraction of an inch. New race leader, new old race leader, Cody Gibson, back on top with that tire advantage. This whole field going to be hoping and praying for a yellow that could potentially sway things in their favor. But as it runs, these three right behind Cody Gibson, they're not done battling it out as of yet. Tom Richter's got 2-lap better tires than the 24 or the 20. He has 1 lap older tires than what Cody Gibson has. So Tom's not going to be in a great position to chase down our race leader. It's going to come down to how well those two manage their stuff as they worked through traffic, and how well they manage their stuff over the last 13 laps of this race. Can Tom keep himself in contention? Can he keep himself close enough to Cody Gibson to potentially capitalize on any mistakes? Give himself a chance before it's all said and done. That will be the question. These two who pit on the same exact lap cannot get away from one another. No advantage or disadvantage either way in particular. Mike Stiverson has closed the gap more than anything, though, so I do think that 20 machine has a little more speed in there than what the 24 has shown. Plenty of time to try and get that move done. A little further back, Greg Mitchell is making the move on Gary Bowman. This is a battle for P5. He moved Greg Mitchell up now into the top 5 officially. 3-lap tire difference over Gary Bowman. That pass was only a matter of time. Greg will get up to the rest before it is all said and done. He's got 4-lap better tires than the 24 or the 20. So he should have enough time to get there. Gonna depend on lap traffic in a big way, of course, as we continue to monitor this battle for the 3rd and final podium position. Frank DiMaggio holding on at the moment. Mike Stiverson trying to put the pressure on. One of the closest battles on track. We do have this battle further back. Paxton Frith, Brad Collins. This is the 20th position. Top 20 up for grabs between these two. Paxton on the outside in that 21. He's going to have to give that up on corner entry as Brad Collins now looks to work over Amanda Sherman, who's got 3-lap older tires. So Collins in the 67 is going to be moving up in a hurry. Going to get that move done. Going to bring Paxton Frith along with to the inside. That 88 machine going to keep it around the outside right there as Paxton Frith looks to get this move done. We look a little further up the grid as Mike Stiverson continues to hound that 24 machine, trying to find the opportunity to stick a nose in there. It might not happen until teammate Greg Mitchell can close the gap, and that will happen soon. Greg Mitchell has already closed the gap to under a second, and now here we go. Mike Stiverson to the inside of Frank DiMaggio coming out of turn number 4 as there are 10 laps remaining across the line. DiMaggio is going to take that momentum from the high side down the front straightaway. 9 laps to go now, excuse me. Down into turn 1 we go. Everyone can make it to the end on fuel. That is no longer in question. You have got what you've got, and you are running it out to the end. Cody Gibson has a 1.3 second lead over second place Tom Richter as it stands. Another second back to third place, Frank DiMaggio. Fourth place, Mike Stiverson. That's the battle we're watching on track right now. And Greg Mitchell back here in P5 starting to close in on third and fourth place. We'll ride on board with the 55 as we see 8 laps to go at the line this time around. Greg Mitchell has 4-lap better tires than the 2 in front of him. He should be able to make quick work of these 2. The question will remain, can Greg Mitchell catch teammate Tom Richter for second place before it is all said and done? He has run out of time in regards to catching up to Cody Gibson out front. Lest there be a caution, dare I say it, it would change everything. A little further back, we're going to have a battle as Rick Thompson makes the move to the inside of Gary Bowman, Final Four championship contender in the previous season. In the previous 2 seasons, I do believe, for the 8 of Gary Bowman. Rick Thompson gets through. That's going to be 6th position on the run for that 76 machine. See Jared Anderson just behind Corey Sherman. Andrew Caldwell. Solid runs as we wind this race down. This battle is going to continue to heat up right here as it is on the final podium position up for grabs. We watch from on board the 24 of Frank DiMaggio. Looking back at Greg Mitchell making the move to the inside of Mike Stiverson. 2 teammates doing battle. Mike's not going to fight it too hard. Yes, he is, actually. There is a 4-lap tire difference. Mike's going to get really tight. He's going to wash out to the outside wall, get into the wall just a little bit right there. That is easy pickings for Greg Mitchell. As we've got issues. Tom Richter has dropped from the session. Internet issues, I do believe, for Tom Richter, who was running in second position. Oh my goodness. Not what you want to see. Tom Richter, who was on course to finish in second position on the podium, drops connection to the server, and internet issues are going to spoil the comeback party for league owner Tom Richter, and that Bucky's machine drove a fantastic race all the way up to P2 in the closing laps. And that 34 car has been disconnected from the server due to issues out of his control. Not what you want to see whatsoever. That is going to move everyone in the running order up one position. Greg Mitchell now second position given that circumstance. Frank DiMaggio holds on to that final podium spot given the 34's internet connection drop. That becomes the cutoff for the podium. Frank DiMaggio back in contention for that podium. And Mike Stuyvesant, perhaps with a second wave, going to try and put the pressure on to get this podium finish. Now that it's up for grabs, that 20 machine going to be doing everything he can to close in on the back of DiMaggio. He's only going to have 3 laps to do so at the line. A little further back, Jared Anderson, Corey Sherman, both going to be putting pressure on Gary Bowman. These guys are on even tires. Corey Sherman is actually on 1 lap better tires than both of these guys ahead of him. Looking for an opportunity to get a 2-for-1 right here. This is going to be a pretty close battle in the closing laps. Corey Sherman going to get to the outside of Jared Anderson. Just keeping it out of the outside wall right there is that 3 machine. And he is going to be able to run this outside line with the tire advantage at this point. Can he close in on the 8 of Gary Bowman before it's all said and done? Coming out of turn 4 right there, he's going to have the draft down the front straightaway. Does he make his move? No, he's going to push the 8 all the way down into the corner. He's going to try and get himself ahead of Jared Anderson. Can't quite do it yet. As they now work maybe 3 wide. They're flirting with it as Corey Sherman gets to the outside of Gary Bowman. Down the back straightaway like a missile. The 3 car is going to get the 2-for-1 special. He's going to bring Andrew Caldwell along with him past Jared Anderson. Caldwell is going to look to pass Gary Bowman as well. Move Corey Sherman up to P6 on track as the white flag is shown for race leader Cody Gibson. We'll jump back up with the Cheetos machine in just a minute as Caldwell looks to dive to the outside of Gary Bowman. This battle in the back half of the top 10 continues to unfold. On the white flag lap, Corey Sherman's just got to hold on, and he is going to be able to do so. Andrew Caldwell with the momentum down the back straightaway. He is going to get that run on the 8 of Bowman. Here comes Anderson to the inside. Are we going to be 3 wide down into turn 3? Yes, we are, and we will revisit that because up front, Cody Gibson is going to start the season with a bang and win in Auto Club. Now, if only we could get him to retire the Christmas paint scheme, because my oh my, if it isn't already March. Cody Gibson, our big winner on the day. Tell you what, let's go take a look at this battle one more time that we had to cut away from. These 3 drivers down the back straightaway. This was the battle for P7. Coming to the start and finish line, down into turn 3 on the white flag lap. Caldwell to the outside, Bowman in the middle, Anderson on the inside. Bowman's got to get out of it. He gets tight. Anderson tries to creep ahead. He is going to get elbows out as Caldwell gets ahead. Bowman to the outside, coming to the line. By a nose, it's going to be Bowman just ahead of Anderson for P7 in that intense battle on the white flag lap, and we jump back up front with the race winner in the wrong number. You'll see him back in the 1 car starting next week. But hey, if you're going to be in the wrong number, you might as well have fun with it. Cody Gibson, the big winner in the season opener out here in the Cyber Thunder Racing League 2026-1 season opener. Let's see if we can't corral our top 3 finishers and get ready to have a couple of words with these drivers here. And why don't we start with our third place finisher? We've got Frank DiMaggio on the 24. I tell you what, Frank, you had probably the strategy call of the race there in stage one, flipping the stage, getting yourself the track position and holding on the rest of the way. You were able to stay in the top 10 for the most part and get pretty competitive towards the end. Do you feel like you were close enough to maybe have something for Cody and Greg? Was there something more you needed, you think?
Track position. That was the big thing. I didn't really have track position. It's off a little bit with that strategy to get the track position at the end of the first stage. And then had a little bit of older tires compared to everyone, so just trying to hang on. And it's still a net gain at the end, but after that, we just couldn't really get back up there until that green flag stopped. And I was right behind a big gaggle of cars right before that, so I pitted a lap early and was able to come out in front of them. And me and Stiverson had a little bit of a battle. He had a little bit of trouble on the outlap with the lap car, but all in all, I didn't have anything for Cody. Tom is real fast too. He should have finished second, but it was a good night.
That it was, and I tell you what, last season we saw you make a return to the Cyber Thunder Racing League. You were kind of feeling it out for a while, just kind of getting used to everyone around you, and now you're here at the very start of a brand new season. You come home with a podium finish, some real solid points tonight. What can we look to expect out of that 24 machine here in 26-1?
Hopefully keeping it out of the wall and finishing some races. That's hopefully what we can expect. But yeah, I at the end of last year, I didn't really know a lot of names and faces, so just wanted to see who you got to watch for, who will give and take, who's going to run you hard type things. Now I know. Was going to qualify tonight, but I don't think I had the speed on fresh tires, so I just decided to stay at the back and ran that strategy, and it all worked out at the end.
That it did. Well, I tell you what, congrats on the podium finish tonight. Before we let you go, we'll open up the floor to give any hays and highs to people you might have watching at home.
Just want to say thanks to our sponsor, AI Chief, my buddies Gary and Ed that were racing in the same channel as me. Appreciate their strategy calls and their insights, so that's always a lot of fun. And for the most part, it was a pretty clean race. Just had a lot of fun. Thank everyone watching and yourself for putting on the show. We'll go back and take a look, and hopefully we can have a solid run again next week.
All right, sounds good. There is our third place finisher, Frank DiMaggio, in the 24. That brings us to the runner-up, the winner of stage number 1 tonight, walking away with 19 total stage points. Greg, I felt like you had something for Cody. What happened on that final pit stop sequence under green? Because I noticed that your pit road time it wasn't there.
I don't know when that starts, but I entered like a 150-year-old granny who'd never driven before, so I came in way too slow. I know that, but I don't know about the actual pit road's time. Does that start when we enter? I don't know, but I know I entered slow.
Well, I tell you what, the difference was about 4 seconds pit lane time between Gibson and yourself, and I think that probably is the difference. I mean, that would have put you ahead of him in theory, but as it goes, I tell you what, you start the season off with a bang. You and Cody really just both come out here and pick up right where you guys left off last season, just kind of trading blows back and forth, and we come out here to Auto Club to open up the season, and it's you two once again. We're getting ready to head to a couple more interesting tracks. We're starting off the season in a really interesting way. We go to Phoenix, and then we go to Kansas in the next 2 weeks. How are you feeling about this start to the season?
Tonight was fun. Auto Club's one of my favorite tracks to run. The 2 miles are. This is the best one in my opinion. I love this track. Cody did a good job figuring out some long run speed there in the last couple stages there, so kudos to him. But yeah, Phoenix is fun. I don't think we've run that one in quite a while, so looking forward to seeing what we can do in the O'Reilly car. And then Kansas, we were there not too long ago, so we all should be in pretty good shape for that. But yeah, I mean, bummer didn't win, but happy to get a podium to start the season out.
That it is good points nonetheless. I tell you what, before we let you go, Greg, we'll open up the floor to give any hays, highs, or shout outs to people you might have watching.
Well, thanks to you, Arie, for running the show tonight. Hopefully everything went good running solo, and congrats to Cody and for winning, and Frank for top 3, and bummer for Todd or for Tom for losing connection there. Bummer
Yeah,
for him
absolutely.
to go from 2nd to 30th, so feel bad for him. But yeah, and then thanks to Corey for sponsoring this entire season, and that's really awesome of him. So happy to be aboard for that.
All right, there we have it. Congrats again, Greg. That is our runner-up finisher, which brings us to the big name on top, race winner in the season opener, Cody Gibson. I tell you what, I was just talking to Greg about it. You two kind of came out here and picked up right where you left off last season, just kind of trading blows back and forth, putting the field on notice. And this season, you come out here, you get it done in the very first race. How are you feeling about this season now in this brand new car, especially coming out here and performing like you did tonight?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I think like the first part of that run, I was trying to drive it like a truck, honestly, and these cars just got more power coming off, and they just get more pushy. So I had to play with it a little bit, but I mean, all in all, I feel pretty good. I wish it was the trucks, but we're stuck driving the O'Reilly's car. That never sounds right to me, but I prefer the Xfinity, but
Fair enough. Well, I tell you what, I think Tom dubbed them the O'Finity at one point. So I don't know, maybe we can petition to get that to be a thing. I tell you what, Cody, we're getting ready to head to 2 more really interesting tracks before we even hit a Super Speedway in Daytona. The next 2 weeks, we've got Phoenix, and then we've got Kansas. I know how you are at Kansas. If I'm not mistaken, it was you and I battling it out last time Cyber went to Kansas. But how do you feel about Phoenix in 1 week's time? Do you think that's going to be a track where you kind of go out there and potentially go back-to-back?
I mean, I ran these cars, I think it was a few weeks back, maybe a month back. I was not good at Phoenix in these cars. I couldn't keep tires under it, couldn't save it. I mean, I'd be good in short run, but long run, it just fell off. Maybe I needed to kind of do what I did tonight, just kind of learn from other people, their lines, how they're racing. Typically, I know people try to do that with me in the truck, right? They get behind me and follow my line, and next thing I know, they're faster than me. So I don't know. I mean, I hope for the best. I mean, it was a fun race out here with Greg. I feel sorry for Tom. I mean, he missed out on a second. I think he was a little bit quicker than me on the long run there, because he'd catch me, then he'd fall back. But sucks whatever happened. I don't know if his computer turned off, internet went out. I don't know. So, but it was fun. Good job to Frank getting third.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Cody, before we let you go and celebrate, we'll open up the floor to give any hays and highs to shout outs to people you might have watching out there for the first win on the season.
All my teammates, Five Kings, and you, I think you're solo up in the boot, so you do a hell of a job up there. I mean, I say it every week, every time I'm up here, but I go back and rewatch the broadcast, and I'm like, I mean, it's like you're made for it, right? You got the voice for it, you got the intensity, so I mean, you got the racecraft, so you kind of know what people are doing, and I appreciate everything you do. But I will ask you, should I get rid of the Christmas paint scheme if I keep winning?
I tell you what, You make a good point. I don't want you to suggest that, because that suggests the fact that Christmas paint scheme could stay around into March, and I'm just not prepared for that. We gotta get you back in that black and orange. That's all I'm saying.
Get me back in that hot Cheetos. I hear you.
All right. Well, I tell you what, congrats again on the big win. We'll see you in 1 week's time. That is our race winner, Cody Gibson. On the night here in Auto Club, it was a fitting season opener. What a race. What a time. What a night. 100 laps later. And we are underway for the 2026 season here in Cyber. Why don't we queue up our officially unofficial race results for the season opener Cody Gibson is the big name on top for Five Kings Motorsports, getting the win ahead of Greg Mitchell in P2. Frank DiMaggio rounds out the podium in P3. Mike Stiverson's going to come home in P4 ahead of Rick Thompson in P5. Corey Sherman brings it home in P6 ahead of Andrew Caldwell in 7th. Gary Bowman scores a top 10, coming home in 8th for the 8 car. Jared Anderson has a great night in that 5 machine, brings it home P9 ahead of the lone Dutchman. Philip Van Vliet sneaks into the top 10 by the time the race is over. Carter Lawson's going to finish in P11 ahead of Dustin Ping, who recovers to P12. Jason Raymond comes home 13th, Dwayne Young in 14th, and Larry Bell rounds out our top 15. Carl Cantonis is going to finish in 16th, Brad Collins in 17th, Chris Rose in 18th, Lee Campbell in the 60 comes home 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is going to be Paxton Frith. 21st is Amanda Sherman, 22nd Matt Semple, 23rd Steven Music, Logan Spencer in 24th, Nathan Dufton 25th, Fred Thompson in 26th, Chris Letts comes home 27th, Eric Anderson in 28th, Casey Tomlinson 29th, and oh, what could have been for Tom Richter, who drops to 30th in what should have been a second place finish out here tonight, but internet connection issues get in the way. Brian Dorsey finishes in 31st, Theodore Todorov in 32nd, Christian Worsham in 33rd, Leroy Koblenz comes home 34th, Dave Gainforth 35th, and rounding out the field of 39, it's going to be Brad Holmes, Andy Cork, Ed Jurgen, and Tanner Marr. All right, that's it for us here in Auto Club. We will be back in 1 week's time for some more Tuesday night action here in the newly rebranded O'Reilly Rush Championship Series, presented by AI Chief. We will see you in Phoenix in 1 week's time. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the Cyber Thunder Broadcast Network to make sure you never miss a minute of racing action, and we will see you next time.